Good evening, everyone. This is Piney Noodles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and on the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Dracula.
Hey now, everybody. How's it going this chilly evening?
Getting cold there.
Indeed.
Yes, this week I was watching a video and someone was talking about freezing pine needles, and that sort of gave me a chill.
I bet it did.
It did, yes. Let's go and see what's in the news. And it looks like bards are in the news. Are they singing the praises of the changes that are expected?
Overall, this was pretty positive, actually, which is shocking for the forums because, the forums. But yeah, Steel Star over on the DDO forums did post about an early look at some upcoming bard changes. They're going to give the bards a little love. Steel Star says, before we begin, bard songs of the modern era have been eroded in their usefulness as other buff and item effects have infringed upon their channels. They were meant to be a small, ever-present bonus and to instill the feeling that no matter what character you are playing, a bard will help them excel at what they do best. In practice, however, they fall short, both from their effects and on how they actually feel to the player. It also takes a long time for a bard to sing all of their songs, and most of them provide minimal, if any, bonuses for a very short period of time. Bards right now need a drastic change to bring them closer to pen and paper and to appropriate power levels, and we hope to accomplish that goal in the most elegant way possible.
Hold it there. I always hear that in pen and paper they're completely useless, so I thought they were just at the level of pen and paper.
Ouch. No, actually in 5e they are pretty good.
Okay, in 5e, because I always remember back into the 3e days they're always...
No, they were totally useless and sucked in 3e.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well then, yeah, but DDO is based on 3.
Well, true, but anymore, a lot of 5e kind of creeps into DDO.
Oh, okay.
It's something we don't talk about much, but
okay.
it happens. You can look and you can see, oh, they got that from 5. Oh, they got that from 5e. So yeah, so we'll say it's a hybrid of 3e, 5e. So it's interesting. And hey, Gumsgang, nice to see you in the chat. Been a while since you've been here, so welcome back, sir. The goals of the bard changes are to recapture the feeling of a classical pen and paper bard, reduce the time it takes for the bard to buff the party, provide a meaningful reason as to why a party would want a bard with them, that's harsh, remove some of the not quite so fun mechanics from the buff playstyle of the bard, help reduce strain on game performance by cleaning up auras to play a lot nicer in a group, and clean up text inconsistencies and clear out bugs behind the scenes to make it easier to have future items and abilities affect bard songs. So we're just going to go over this really quick. This is really long and really kind of complicated. So if you want to get an in-depth look at this, you can go follow the link in the show notes, and you can read Steel Star's post. But the gist of the rundown of what they're going to do. Bards are no longer going to sing their songs individually, one at a time. Instead, their single target bard songs will be collapsed into one song known as their bardic inspiration. And their area of effect bard songs will simply be consistently pulsing from their location to all of the players. For example, the single target bard song Inspire Heroics is now automatically played, meaning its effects are added when the bard plays their inspiration for their target, as long as the bard meets the song's perform and level requirements. And then Steelstar does say, for reference, the aria, these are the passive chants and inspire courage / greatness, and the bardic inspiration, these are the single target bard songs. Bardic Aria will become active at Bard level 1 and contain Inspire Courage at first. Bards will then gain access to Bardic Inspiration at Bard level 3, which will initially contain Inspire Competence. The active Bard song that would be granted are instead changed to passive feats that display their effects and how they are applied. And they're also looking at changing the songs, some of the feats you get as a bard, yada, yada, yada. As I said, hop in, read the actual post of this, because there is a lot of stuff here. If we would talk about this, we would be here until next week's show, probably.
Right. Now, if I remember correctly, we don't have Bargus yet in DDO?
Have what?
We don't have Bargus yet in DDO, right?
No.
Okay, fine. Because if I can't remember whether because I think they silence you all. I think I remember them. They do silence you in D&D like they do in Lotro, right?
I want to say yes.
Yeah.
Pretty sure I ran into one of them times way back in the in the day, as it were, and I'm pretty sure, our bard. And
I think bards, I think bards will hate those things, I'm pretty sure.
yeah. Thankfully, they're not in DDO yet. I forgot all about them. That is a monster we need. Get on that, Standing Stone.
Yeah. The only reason why I have them always on my mind is because they're in Lotro, and they're a real pain if you're playing a minstrel.
Yeah, I bet they are. So that's just a quick overlook. As I said, a lot of changes, a lot of beefy, mathy stuff in this too, at what different levels, what you're going to get, what ranks you're going to get, some proposed other changes they're doing. So go over and read this forum post, show notes, we'll have the link to it. As I said, overall, the forums seemed to be okay with this. There was a couple suggestions, but nobody was... I kind of glanced through some of this thread. This thread is now into its 12th page, so it's getting pretty long. But overall, people seem to like where they're taking the bard, so a pleasant surprise.
Well, that's good news. Then let's head into our Chronicle for this week, issue number 305. And it looks like there may be another thing related to the Night Revels.
Yep. Right, 2 weeks in a row. Thank you very much. Just saying, we called it last week. If you're looking for +8 ability tomes, now is your time, but you better hurry. Through October the 24th, +8 ability tomes and +7 to +8 upgrade tomes now available in the store. So if you want them, go get them. They are here for a limited time. Don't forget about the Night Rebels running through November 4th, so just about at its end. Still have a little bit to get all that night reveling in. November 4th is the end for that. Congratulations to Fridays on Ice, as Baklagor celebrated the 100th episode. And that was last Friday night, so you can click over and check that out. And of course, let's jump into our fansite news section of the Chronicle. D&D Kasplat. Yes, I didn't say DDO Kasplat. I said D&D Kasplat. That is one of the D&D Night on DDO stream games. That, of course, is ran by Patrick. Fun. We had an amazing time in the first part of that adventure. You can watch that video if you did not get to join us live for that. That's going to take some time off because the next 3 weeks on D&D Night on DDO stream is going to be Cordovan and his Witch in the Woods, which we did start last night. So a Halloween-themed D&D Night on DDO stream, and then D&D Kasplat will be back. And Streaming with Eben, and of course, is Shroud Palooza flagging. So you can click over and watch her latest video where they were on Sarlona. And then Damsels of DDO had episode 98 with maybe me and Patrick were on there. So
It's a possibility.
it is a possibility that happened, and it is a possibility they killed me. But of course, it's the damsels, so what would you expect? Return to the House of Grouse again in the hazy shade of winter. I have not read that blog post, so no idea what that's about. I'm guessing something about winter, but I don't know. I have to read and find out. Brock and Friends is still running the Night Rebels. We got a shout out for our episode last week. Update 40 Review Part 1 is the latest DDO cast episode. They are up to 535. That is just amazing. And don't forget Tone Station and his adventures on Galanda. And of course, we have our Chronicle comment of the week. How would you get rid of a ghost?
How would I get rid of a ghost? We call Ghostbusters?
Yeah. See, everybody should be impressed because number one, you actually know what Ghostbusters are. Number two, you made a pop culture joke. Our little Pine Leap is growing up, folks. It's amazing. He's learning some pop culture. I think you just shocked half the audience, Pine Leap.
Well, hey, what do you think?
I guess I'm just shocked you actually knew something about pop culture, because usually you're like, what? What's that? I don't get it.
Well, yes, I've heard. You gotta remember, I grew up in.
Careful, you're going to date yourself.
I was, I was gonna say in the. Let's just say I grew up in that metropolitan area.
Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. I'm with you now. Gotcha. So yes, how would I get rid of a ghost? See, I probably wouldn't want to get rid of the ghost, because there's a part of me that I'm probably going to. You've shocked our audience. Now I'm going to shock our audience.
Yeah.
Because I don't think many people in our audience know this. If any know this, I would not want to get rid of the ghost because I would want to study and learn about the ghost, because I am a paranormal investigator. I am the lead investigator for a paranormal team. So I research ghosts on the weekends sometimes. And I go to people's houses and that contact us and they say, hey, I think my house is haunted. Can you help me? So I wouldn't want to get rid of the ghost. I would want to study the ghost.
You'd want to study the ghost.
Yes.
All right. I suppose that would be a case for you to do.
So in theory, I guess instead of calling the Ghostbusters, you would just call me.
Well, so what do you call your place? Kindred Spirits?
Ooh, that is a great name. I wish we would have thought about that. Actually, I kind of inherited this group. I kind of joined. It was already an established group, and then I joined, and then some things happened, and then a bunch of people left, and then we kind of resurrected the group, so we kept the same group name. But I like Kindred Spirits, though. Gonna have to write that one down, Pinely. That one's good. And then don't forget, we have our official screenshot of the week, and that is Gilmer dresses for the Return of the Night Rebels in the 387th DDO screenshot of the week. And yes, if you look closely, there is a character in there. It's kind of hard to see, and that's an awesome shot. But at first I was like, what do you mean dresses for the Night Rebels? I don't get it. And then I'm like, oh, there is a character standing there. So
yeah.
That is a cool screenshot. Very Halloween-y. And again, called it last week, said the screenshot of the week was going to be Night Rebels related.
Well, yes,
you're welcome.
You're welcome. What? Someone was taking bets on it?
No, probably. Well, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. I just have to take credit for it because I was right 2 weeks in a row. That doesn't happen very often.
Well,
so, you know.
Yes, but then let's face it, it wasn't exactly what you call a...
It was a sucker's bet, Pine Leaf. Just say it. It was a sucker's bet.
Well, yes, I guess that would be a good way of putting it.
We'll call a spade, okay?
Right. I suppose you could have that. Then let's head into our sales for this weekend. Anything nice, nifty, wonderful for sale?
Indeed, if you need inventory space, bags, shared banks, deposit box, and platinum storage, because it's the Store More Loot sale, so 20% off those aforementioned items. Once again, that's 20% off character banks, shared banks, deposit box, plat storage, inventory space, and bags. Go now! What are you waiting for? Always
Now,
buy those when they're on sale.
now, when it comes to inventory space, if
Yes,
you
sir.
buy it from the store, does it carry over if you TR?
Yes. I do believe the answer is yes. I can tell you for sure when we play this week, because I'll see how much space I have.
Oh, you didn't. Oh, you have some purchased inventory
Yes.
slots in there.
Yes. So I'm almost positive it does.
All right, so we'll know whether or not you have a ton of space. Let's hope I remember to ask you when we play.
Yes. And then our weekly coupon code will get you the Big B's Blue Guiding Hand, 5 Big B's hands, and also 5 orange hands when you use the coupon code Big B's. So you're getting 10 Big B's Guiding Hand, 5 orange, 5 blue, Big B's hands. Use the coupon code Big B's, BIGBYS, now through the 25th of October.
I
And then
guess they don't have any Big B's black hands because black and orange would have been great for this month.
actually, yes, it would have. That would have been amazing. But no, there is no black, which that would be pretty cool, though. And I got some of these out of the Daily Dice a couple of weeks ago, and I've yet to ever use one of these things. Like, ever.
I'm sure that when we enter into a maze, we will be happy we've got them around.
Probably. We'll have to remember that we have them, because, yeah, I have quite a few
Yeah, that's the trick.
from Dice, but I'm like, anyway.
Then let's see what's coming in from the dungeon. Where we have Kids on Bikes, Strange Adventures, Volume 1, coming from Renegade. That's a mouthful. What does it actually mean?
What it means is, of course, there is an RPG from Renegade Studios that is called Kids on Bike Strange Adventures. And it's what it sounds like. It's set in the 1980s, and it's basically kids on bikes, and they go around solving threats of the, say, strange, weird, and paranormal variety.
Is it? Are these the junior members of your group?
I guess they could be. I don't know. So yeah, so Kids on Bikes has been out for a little while. It's getting pretty good reviews. And speaking of reviews, one's coming soon to DDO players. Just an FYI. But there is going to be a source book available soon for Kids on Bikes. It is the Strange Adventures Volume 1. It's a brand new non-core book for the game, and it's going to feature adventure hooks and story guidelines to help you find new adventures for your Kids on Bikes gaming, featuring 20 unique towns under the writing expertise of both new and seasoned story writers such as Ross Watson, Scott Woodard, Eliza Tagg, Matt Koval, Sen Fong Lim, say that a couple times fast, and Amanda Harmon Kunz. So if you're into the RPG world, some of those names are going to jump out at you right away. So I think these are going to be some pretty cool adventures, but just 20 more adventures that you can run in Kids on Bikes. This is coming out later this year, and it's got an MSRP of only $20, so that's not bad. It's going to be an 80-page full cover soft cover book, so I think that's why the MSRP is low on it. It's not a hardcover, it's a soft cover. But more adventures coming for Kids on Bikes from Renegade.
Now, is there a reason why this looks like a comic book cover?
Then again, it's because it's kind of based in the 80s, And the whole thing is kind of like comic book. There's like a lot of comic book references in it. There's a bunch of like 80s references in it. If you've ever watched Stranger Things, it's kind of a nod to Stranger Things. So it all kind of plays together. So yes, that's why it's got a comic book type cover to it.
Then let's head on to what's on the tabletop. And I've heard that Gen Con just really loves staying in. Don't we? Isn't this the third time we've had an extension story with Gen Con and Indy?
It is, because I don't understand why they only keep doing it for a couple of years at a time. But yes, we were worried because 2021 was fastly approaching, and that was the last extension. We'll worry no more, at least until 2023. Because Gen Con did announce they have agreed to stay in Indy because they just love Indy. And they were kind of prompted by this announcement because the city of Indianapolis loves Gen Con as well and all the money that it brings. City of Indianapolis has announced 2 new hotels that will be connected to the convention center and also an expansion to the expansion an expansion to the convention center. So yes, Indy wants Gen Con to stay, and they will do anything to keep them, which I've said several times.
Apparently so.
And David Hope, the president of Gen Con, did say new hotel developments, along with Indy's desire for technological upgrades, have made our decision to extend with Indianapolis an easy choice. We're enthusiastic to extend our contract with Indy until 2023, as this new hotel development is a game changer.
A game changer.
No pun intended, I am sure. And of course, the new hotel and convention center upgrade is, if you're familiar with Indianapolis, and right outside the convention center is an area called Pan Am Plaza. And the city of Indianapolis last Friday announced they are going to transform that with a $120 million publicly funded building that is going to house a 50,000 square foot ballroom, new meeting spaces, and it's going to be connected, you guessed it, to the convention center by a skywalk. And then this is also going to be connected to 2 brand new announced Hilton hotels that will be right there as well. So hence, Gen Con's like, okay, we'll stay in Indy for a couple more years. And my guess is closer to 2023, they're going to say, we'll stay in Indy for a couple more years. I don't get why they just don't extend it for like 10 years, 5 years at a time. They always do like these 2-year extensions. I guess maybe there's a business decision behind it. I'm not sure. But and then I've said in previous shows, I can almost guarantee you that Indianapolis is going to bend over backwards and forwards and do whatever they can to keep Gen Con there. They do not want Gen Con to leave Indy because it brings so much money to the city.
Until further notice, just assume that Gen Con is going to be in Indianapolis.
Indeed.
Let's then head into our week in gaming. Drac, what were you up to?
Quite a bit, actually. Played a lot of DDO this week. Some of it was, we did quite a few things in DDO. I'll let you talk about that because you made me do something I swore I would never do, but more on that in a bit. Over on Wayfinder, the Three Amigos static group, we are working on the leveling, so we decided to run some House Kandaric quest because we want that bank space. Everybody needs that bank space, right? So we hadn't run any House Kandaric stuff yet for favors, so we were running that. We jumped into the Ever Full Flagon, and we were running the quest in there, which of course those are Ruin Hall, Taming the Flames, Chamber of Insanity, Forgotten Caverns, and the Lair of Summoning. Ran all those on Elite. And then we jumped into House of Yarlin and ran the Tier of Dakran. Ran that on Elite as well. You're going to sense a theme with most quests we run. They're going to be ran on Elite. So get used to me saying Elite when I'm talking about the Three Amigos static group, because that's what we do. And then, as I said, Elsewhere in DDO was with you, so I'll let you talk about that. Played some D&D 5e last night over on DDO stream and also my Twitch channel as well. It was part 1 of the Witch in the Woods campaign. This, of course, is Cordoban's 3-week Halloween one-shot adventure. Things are getting weird, as you would expect from a Halloween-themed event. I kind of called it. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't watched it yet. Near the end of the session, I kind of figured some stuff that was going, and I suggested we do something, and everybody was shocked that I suggested it. But then that same thing I suggested ended up happening, and I was like, I told ya. So, yeah, things are getting weird.
Oh, it's getting weird.
Yes.
Considering the title, I think getting...
Well, there's that. So that was part 1. As I said, that's going to be a 3-part series. So you can watch that video over on my YouTube. I uploaded the Twitch video to my YouTube. It's also over on DDO Stream's YouTube and DDO's Twitch channel. But that's part of the D&D stream on DDO stream, or D&D night on DDO stream. That's a hard title for me to remember to say. Then I played some tabletop this weekend. A friend of mine came over, and he brought with him Dungeon. Yes, that Dungeon. It wasn't the original Dungeon from the 70s, but it was the upgraded one that came out, I want to say 2011, 2012. So they kind of tweaked some stuff. I have not played Dungeon in a long time, so it was kind of fun. If you're not familiar with Dungeon, it's pretty much a roll and move game, and then you're exploring a dungeon. Then, of course, you roll, you defeat monsters, you get treasure, yada, yada, yada. You have a fighter, a wizard, a cleric, or a rogue are the classes that you can play. And then the board is kind of laid out, so there's like level 1 of the dungeon all the way down to level 6, which is of course really hard. So it was fun. We played that a couple times. He won both games because then again, RNG hated me. Dice rolls bad.
What a shock.
Yeah, exactly. Dice rolls really bad. So yeah, I couldn't do anything because the dice were just bad. And then we played the Island of Dr. Lucky. That, of course, is the new Dr. Lucky game that came out at Gen Con, which I kind of remembered as we were sitting there talking after I got done playing Dungeon. He was kind of looking at my games, and he's like, oh, you got the Island of Dr. Lucky? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I was supposed to do a review on that. Whoops. Whoops. So, sorry, cheap-ass games, about that. Your review will be coming up this week, if you're listening. Yeah, I kind of forgot I had picked a copy. They had given me a copy of that at Gen Con, and I was like, oh yeah, we should probably play that. And that's the new Dr. Lucky. If you're familiar with how to play Dr. Lucky, not much has changed other than this time, of course, you're on an island, and then there is some hazards that you can play, so you can kind of use the island to try to kill Dr. Lucky as well, or you can use it to impede your other player as well. Did find out something that I forgot about Dr. Lucky when we were playing, though. That game really, really sucks really, really bad with 2 people. It's not a good two-person game. And I remember that after about 5 minutes of us playing, I'm like, that's why I never play this with 2 people. It's just much, much better with about 4 to 6 people. But anyway, look for the Island of Dr. Lucky review coming soon.
Okay.
A little late, but coming soon. Then we also played What Do You Meme? Look for a review of that coming soon. Another late Gen Con review. And that is really all I did other than what I did with you. So let's surprise them and tell people what I did that I still can't believe that you made me do. But I did it. There's video proof on my YouTube. You can see it.
Ooh. That is right. That's because we took our namesake level 20 characters. In other words, my level 20 paladin named Pineleaf and Dracula's level 21, was it a ranger?
Mm-hmm.
Who's named Draculetta. We took those characters, TR'd them, went back to level 1, and took a little trip to Korthos.
Ugh, seriously.
Now,
Korthos.
if I remember correctly, it was that you seem to say that it was a little bit less painful than some of your other experiences in Korthos.
Yeah, but I think that's because it has been forever and a day plus about 10 since I ran Korthos, so yeah. It wasn't that bad, but still, Korthos.
Korthos.
But,
therefore,
yeah.
We did the usual Korthos stuff. We went to the Grotto, then Hayton's Rest, or House of Secret, Kenneth Crystal, Collaborator, stopping the Sulfagen, where we hit level 2, Redemption, Necromancer's Doom, and Sacrifices. So everything in Korthos except for Misery's Peak, because I guess Dracula's misery has not quite peaked yet.
Yeah. So apparently this week. My question for you is, before we do Misery's Peak, are we going to get all the Slayers and get all the Hiddens? Or the Rares? Or are we just going to run Miseries?
I have been known to do that both ways. Depends on how much anxious I am to do it. We could use a little extra XP, I have to admit. But
so probably
I know
wouldn't.
You don't. I know that you're not exactly in love with Korthos.
No, but I mean, XP killing things. Yeah, I can go both ways on it.
All right, we'll probably at least do one sweep around to see if those rares are there.
Because I think, like, Slayer wise, I might have just hit 150 maybe. So we kind of got a long way to go, but that's pretty easy to do, though. That only takes just a couple runs out there to hit the Slayers. So
yeah,
and it is pretty decent experience.
Yeah, especially when you are TR'd and need a little extra experience in order to get up there. So that was we both took Wood Elves. I took a Druid, and Dracula's choice of class should be absolutely no shock to anyone.
Sneaky, stabby.
Sneaky, stabby. Yes, that is it.
Yeah, nobody's shocked.
Yeah.
I really was going to do something different, and I'm like, nah. Stick with the classic. I am playing in the Wood Elf, though, so that's interesting. I'm a Wood Elf rogue this time, and so far, really digging the Wood Elf tree. A lot. Even at level 2.
Yeah, you're liking that a lot. I'm pretty much splitting between one of the Druid trees, which I believe is the one that's, I think it's the animal-based one or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's what you said you were doing.
Yeah, with some falconry thrown on top of it. So I think you're just focusing on Wood Elf completely, or are you going
right now? Yeah, and then eventually I'm going to go into the assassin tree. But
oh, really? Shocked?
Yeah, again, everybody is like, what? Yeah. Can't help it. I like my assassin rogues. What can I say?
Then in tabletop, I played another round of legendary encounters, this time with Scully, and I came to the conclusion that the solo mode might be a little bit on the easy side in legendary, because I guess because you have only one deck to build, so the deck is going to start getting a little strong. You can't use coordinate anywhere near as effectively as you can in a multiplayer game, but you do have the advantage of being able to have a more, I'd say, more powerful deck overall. So I think that makes things a little bit easier. At least that's the impression I get. I'll know that after I try all the characters. I'm going to try all the characters solo once to see the feel of each of them. Then I'm going to try two-handed and see how well it works two-handed, and see if I still feel it's a little bit, see if how much that changes my opinion on the matter. But I'm making a guess right now that I think it might be a little bit easier one-handed than two-handed. Now that said, things did get a little tricky near the end game because I had one who would bring in conspiracy people infiltrating the bureau near the end, and they were just popping up like crazy in there, and they just almost doomed me because they were crippling me near the end, and I was very lucky to be able to get one more hit to finish off the big boss before they finished me off. But that was that. And then after that, I tried a new game, Fantastic Beasts Perilous Pursuit.
Okay.
And I guess you could figure that. And are you familiar with that game?
No, I've never heard of it.
This, obviously, from the title, it's based on the Fantastic Beasts world. And
About to say, is it based on what I think it's based off of? Just on the title? Okay.
yes, it's definitely based off of that. And you play is for two to four players. It's a co-op, so therefore you could play single player, multi-handed, of course. So I played around with Newt and with Tina, and you can play the four characters from the movie. So that's obviously something else that is similar to what we had there. And the mechanisms work similar to that of Yahtzee, where you have 6 dice. You roll the dice, put some aside, and then re-roll. You have up to 3 re-rolls, and you use that to determine your actions. One of the dice could potentially have the creature reacting, and after you take your actions, there's also a roll for the monster on how the monster reacts to everything, and that can create some havoc in there. And in fact, first monster, pretty easy. Second one starts to get a little tougher. Third monster, well, I was starting to get to the point where I might be able to capture the monster then came out with claws and just ripped us to pieces.
Fun.
Yeah. Therefore, it's gonna have to get a little bit better at that one. First round of it, get ripped apart. That was something that I was expecting to happen with X-Files. But in this, I think it went well. At least I got an idea how the game operates and stuff like that. So I had some fun doing that and trying to catch creatures. And unfortunately, I didn't do a very good job at it, apparently. Then in Minecraft, in my railroad challenge, I built a bridge over the village that's near the station. I believe I reported building a station last week. So this week I built a bridge over the attached village because the village is built in a valley that's right beneath the station. Therefore, I need a bridge. I can't just go by. I don't feel like going down into the valley and going back up. I decided it would be a lot easier to just bridge across it. So I built the bridge there. And that also allows me to have the village cross the bridge without the villagers having to worry about getting run over by carts when they're going to and from the various areas.
So you really did build a bridge and get over it then? Nothing? No,
What?
no chuckle or laugh or nothing? Wow. Tough crowd.
Well, yes, sorry about that.
Really tough crowd. Okay, I'll just be over here in the
I
corner.
guess I didn't quite catch what you were trying to say there. So,
I'll just be over here if you need me.
all right, fine. And then I continued with building my haunted house. This week I was working on in the basement. And since this is based on the salt marsh module, I was building the area that corresponds to the natural caves that are in the salt marsh module. And I managed to get down there to the point where I was going to have the boat dock and all that stuff. It all looked fine. And right after I finished that, I remember that there's one little flaw in this build. And I don't think it's a flaw that I have any way around. And that is, of course, is that you have this exit, the secret exit at the bottom in the water in there. And that water area and the land all near it is spawnable. Therefore, I have zombies entering into that area and encroaching into the basement. And I guess I'll have to find some way in order to discourage the zombies from doing that. So that's a little challenge for me to think of. Now I have the basic outline for the house. I have all the sections built. But of course, right now it's a house more than a haunted house. So of course I need to add the haunted bit. And I'm hoping to have the haunted bit all done so I could post a tour of my haunted house for, of course, Halloween, because when else will you post a tour for a haunted house?
Of course. Makes sense.
Of course. And I continued my build for the base race where I'm doing this alien base. I've been trying to think exactly where I was in all this because I'm trying to think, all right, is this on some different planet? Is it in maybe some hostile environment on Earth, such as Antarctica or something like this? Because one of the things I was thinking for this is that if it were randomly selected to be the build for the December base race, it should also be able to fit in with a winter scene. So I was considering, okay, maybe it's in Antarctica instead of on Mars or something like this. Then a couple of days ago, they made the announcement that they're doing a mini base race in November, and that meant that we would not, they'd be pushing back the date in which this base would use, so it probably won't be used till January or February, which means that it no longer, I guess I should just think it's on Mars and be done with it. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to think of this from the point of view is we've got this thing on Mars and someone has this little inhabited area. Actually, I was thinking I should say an alien planet, not necessarily Mars, because I'm thinking that maybe it's a planet we're trying to colonize and terraform and stuff like this. So that planet's not quite ready for being able to live in without a dome or something like that. I know, I come up with weird ideas on these matters.
That you do, but at this point, I think everybody's used to it. They just roll with it. They're like,
yes.
Of course you're doing that. Why wouldn't you?
Why would he? Yes. We currently have 21 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to help support DDO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including leading a mention on the podcast, your choice, or even be a guest with us for an episode of DDO Players News. Though I've heard a rumor that someday you might actually come up with a new set of rewards.
Yeah, at some point.
At some point.
It will happen sometimes. I don't know. Just soon. Trademark. Soon.
Yes. Now, I heard a rumor that someone made a comment related to Korthos.
They did over on my YouTube. Like I said, I uploaded my Twitch video. And Zeban Rustov made a comment. You were talking about after we were leveling, we were looking at our trees, putting points in our trees. And you had said that you wanted to like move your tree over.
Yeah.
And I said, I don't think you can, but then I said you can, but I can't remember how you do it. Well, I remembered because Zaban says you can move them after your points are spent, select and hold the round icon, and then drag it to wherever you want.
The round icon?
Yeah, when we play, I will show you because after he responded on the YouTube video, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I'll show you how to do it. Yeah, there's a round icon on the tree, and all you have to do is you click on that, and then you can drag it over. I'll show you how to do it when we play again. All
All
right,
right.
I can kind of explain it to you better once I see it, but I kind of remembered about the same time I read this comment. I'm like, yeah, that's how you do it. So thanks, Zaban, for the comment over on my YouTube.
All right. Thank you. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@ddoplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at the Players Alliance at Players Ally, DDO Players at DDO Players, Dracula at Dracula_Sim2, and Pineath at Pineath Needles. And you can follow Dracula on Twitch at Dracula_Sim2. And I could presume they could follow you on the YouTube there also, or?
Yeah, I'll add a link to my YouTube page too because it's like this really bizarre link. But yes, follow me on YouTube.
And you can follow me on YouTube at Pineath Needles. The Players Alliance has 2 live shows every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time via DDO Players News, and every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time via Loto Players News. You can join us for our live shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight, and this is Pineath Needles reminding you to quest responsibly.